पिता समझावेंगे, you are my father, तू मेरा पिता है, तो तुसी समझाएंगे, you will explain to me. प्यारी साध संगत, गुरुमुखो, sisters, brothers, we are stating to the Guru, we are saying to the Guru in this shop that you are my father and I am your child. And when we say this, there are certain expectations within that relationship. A father can scold us. A father can tell us off, but he never tells us off out of hatred. He tells us off out of love, pyar. It's for our betterment. When you were a child, your father scolded you many times, your mother scolded you many times. You did things without realizing it. You were barak mugd ayan, you were a murak, you had no samj, no understanding. You broke things, you spilled things, you said things without thinking about it, without meaning it. It was not your intention to break things, that was not your nature. And it was not your father's nature to hate you. And at that moment, when he scolded you, it would seem that my father hates me, my mother hates me, but it is not like that. Hum barak mugd ayan pita samjhavenge. My father will explain, Hey Malik, you are my father, you explain to me, tusi menu samjhao. Sut khin khin puhul vegan. Jagat pit bhavenge. Sut means son. Kin, many, many times. Pool vigar, he forgets. Pul ho gayi, he forgets. Jagat pita pavahenge. Pyari Sad Sangat, this is a shabd of utter humility. It is forcing us, if we are going to do amal on this shabd, if we are going to understand this shabd and bring it into our lives, then it is forcing us to be very humble. It is forcing us to accept that, hey bande, you make many mistakes. You make many mistakes, and you have to accept, acknowledge that you make many mistakes. Pyari Sad Sangat, but when a child grows up, and himself becomes an adult, then those mistakes are no longer forgivable. When he was a child, we could forgive him, or barak si, or niana si. He was a child, he did not know what he did. When he grows up and becomes mature, he should have learned from all those mistakes. And that is one of our problems, Pyari Sad Sangat. We do make many mistakes. There was a man, Phyllis Theros, who said once that mistakes are the bridge. Mistakes are the bridge between inexperience, between childhood and wisdom. And those mistakes are the bridge we cross over to get wise, to become wise. But Pyario, we make many mistakes, and then there are two things that we do not do. And we have to learn to do those. Belli galya, that we never admit that we have made a mistake. We are so arrogant. This is our home, our pride, our ego, our arrogance coming out inside us now. We make a mistake, but we're not ready to admit that we made that mistake. We're not ready to accept that that was a mistake, that that was a shortcoming on my part, because when I admit I made a mistake, I'm also admitting two things. One, that I made the mistake, and one, that there is a deficiency inside me. We are so perfect, of course we don't make mistakes. So that's one thing we do, is we don't accept that we make a mistake. Then if we do accept a mistake, the other thing that we do not do is try to recognize the deficiency. What was it that made me make that mistake? In the heat of the moment, you're speaking to someone, you disagree with them, do not agree with what they're saying, and you start shouting at them. Skrodh come out inside you. It's not just hankar. Hankar is you not being able to say, "Theek hai, I accept what you're saying. Let's agree to disagree." That's Nimrta. That's humility. But what does hankar inside us do? It forces us to believe that we are right. I am right, you are wrong. So that's the hankar. Then growth comes out and we start shouting. We start raising our voice. We get into a fight. Out of Kam, Krodh, Loh, Moh, Hankar, these two things have now come out inside us. These are deficiencies that have come out in the heat of that moment. We're unable to think for a moment. Soch nahi hunda. Been through that many, many times. Many of us have. Unable to admit that I made a mistake. And then later on, if we do admit I was wrong, I shouldn't have shouted, we never sit back and think, why did I do that? What is it inside me that I need to work on? Perhaps I am one of those people who get angry very quickly, who loses their temper very quickly. This happens without us realizing. It's ਸਾਡੇ control ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ. This is not within our control. This happens outside of our control, and we have to learn to control that, because that moment, whether it is with a friend, whether it is with a child, whether it is with our father, our mother, or our wife, or our husband, that moment causes so much damage. That one single moment may not, but then add 15 of those moments together over a period of 2 weeks. And then add 30 of them over a month. Now it is causing damage. That is damaging your relationship with your family, with your wife, with your husband. And we need to stand back. Guruji are telling us in this shabd, these are people skills, people skills. You learn these at university, in your companies. People try to develop people skills. There are management gurus out there who try to develop these people skills. They try to teach you them. It's in the Bani. We do not need to go very far. Sut kin kin pool vigar, that you are a child, you will make many mistakes. You are not perfect. Guruji is saying, Lekhe kathe na chutiye kin kin poolan har, bakshan har, bakshle nanak par utar. Hey Malik, I make many, many mistakes. Jitta smund sagar neer paryate te augan hamare. Just as the ocean is full of water, we do not know how much water there is in there. We do not know how many streams have gathered and they fall into that samundar, into that ocean. We do not know how many raindrops have fallen into that ocean. We are unable to measure how many cubic liters of water is in that ocean. It is vast. Just as that ocean is full of water, Hey Malik, tete augan hamare, my atma, my mind, my srir is full of many augan, many deficiencies. Daya karo kich meher pavo. So what we say is, Malik, help me to recognize these deficiencies. And that's what we are asking. Gurmukho in the Bani, it is teaching us people skills. Ke hey bande, you make many mistakes. Try to recognize that you do, and after you've recognized that you've made those mistakes, try to find out what the mistake was, what caused that moment. Because once you know what caused that moment, if, for example, you are very hot-tempered, very fiery-tempered, perhaps when you are in an incident like that, when you disagree with someone, find a way of walking away. Find a way of thinking. Find a way of stepping back with your mind and saying, okay, I need to think here. I shouldn't just respond, because if I respond, this feud will grow. The best thing you can do is walk away. You will have heard this term many times, let's agree to disagree. If we can't agree on that point, then let's agree on one point, and that is that we both disagree. Let's both accept that we disagree on this and let's move forward. We can't even find things we can move forward together on.